Alright, so I wanted to make a quick tutorial on how to install CS2KZ mapping tools using a plugin or a bunch of scripts that Zero made. So let's show you how to do that properly. So first things first, we're gonna make sure that we have CS installed. And obviously you need CS. And then we also need to make sure that the mapping tools are installed, the workshop tools. You can check that, or you can make sure you've done that if you go to properties, go to DLC, and you make sure that this is ticked. And if it wasn't, it'll download them, and then you should have them. Pretty simple stuff. And you can check if you go to play. You might not have the legacy version here, but you should have the workshop tools. You can use them normally if you're not using what I show next. So after that, we're gonna go to the interwebs. We're gonna go to this link in the description along with all the steps. The GitHub page that Zero made, and it has all the scripts and a bit of a description. It's pretty simple to use, but I still wanted to make a tutorial. There's two ways to do this. The first is with executable files, which, you just download them, you run them. They do things for you, very simple. That's what I'm going to show off. The other way is if you're kind of worried about running executables for whatever reason, it has the Python scripts themselves. Just, here you can download them. There's a little explanation of how to run them as well, if you just want to be safer, but it's perfectly safe. I've used executables, many people have. So that's what I'm going to show because it's far easier and convenient. So we're going to go to releases, go to latest, and there's 6 things here, 6 executables. You need the setup. The verify is good to have. And then the rest is kind of based on what you need. So if you want to just use the plugin when you're mapping, you can download the mapping one. And then the other things are a listen server, LAN server, and a dedicated LAN server. So I'm gonna download all of them just to show off what each of them do and explain it. But you don't need everything. If you just want one of them, say you want to only make maps, you don't need an actual server. You only download the mapping. You don't need everything at once, basically. So yeah, let's get these downloaded. No, I forgot the mapping one. Fucking sick. Let's get that. And yeah, so first of all, let's get these to desktop. Before we run the setup, which is what you run once to download, update the plugin, you don't need to run this every time, but before we run that, in case you've done this before through like a more manual method or for whatever reason, if we go to our game folder in common construct game CSGO, if you go to find the gameinfo.gi file, if you've edited this in any way, run the verify script first. You normally will not need to do that, because most people don't change that. But yeah, just in case, we're gonna run the verify as well. But basically, the way to run the plugin is it changes that file. So you could do that manually every time, but you have to change it back every time you want to play CS. We're gonna run the verify script just to make sure that's all fine. See, it's just quick load thing, closes. That's basically what it does. It resets that file back to normal. At least I'm pretty sure. It might do a few other things as well alongside that, but yeah, next we're gonna run the setup. Don't worry about making it like it's gonna pop up a warning. Don't worry about that. It's safe. Just give it a second. It closes automatically. And what this does is it downloads the plugin, it makes everything, all the other scripts or executables run. So yeah, pretty simple stuff. You don't need to run that every time. You just need to run it once, and then once you're set up, you just run whatever you need. I'm gonna show the mapping first. This is if you want to create maps and then test them in real time with the actual plugin. If you want to have checkpoints, have the special mode, the classic mode. It's very simple. You literally just run it. I don't even think you need a tutorial, to be honest, but Now, just in case. See, you get the little window, don't worry about that, but you get the actual tools, you can launch them. They work literally the same as normal if you've ever used them before. It's very simple. You get a game and you get the tools opened. So yeah, you can see you can launch Hammer. I'm not gonna compile an actual map, but this would be the same as doing the so. I'm just gonna go into like a normal map. The way this runs is it has the plugin loaded into this game. And when you go into basically a listen server with the mapping tools open, it has the plugin. So this would be the same, like if you compile the map and you run this, you know, it's gonna have the plugin. So as you can see, we got speed, we got checkpoints, you can change mode, whatever, plugin works. And then it's simple as that. You're ready to go. So if we leave, the way this plugin works as well is after you close the game and reset everything back to normal. At least I'm pretty sure. So you don't need to run anything else to be able to play CS normally. If you happen to have any issues for whatever reason when you try to play CS again, you're not trying to run this, just run the verify again. It should fix everything. If that doesn't fix everything, you can verify your files. If you go to properties, installed files, verify integrity. But yeah, you normally shouldn't have any issues. I haven't had to do that ever. The other things I'm gonna show off that this has is the two server plugins, the LAN servers. I'm gonna run the listen server first, the run-listen.exe. What this does is it's pretty much the same as the mapping tools, but without the mapping tools. So this is just the game with the plugin loaded in. So if you load into a map, say we go to Nuke, this is basically what a listen server is. If you load into any map, say if you subscribe to them on the workshop, and you know you wanted to play them, you can do that with the plugin on LAN. You don't need an actual server. And yeah, you can see plugin works, you got speed, you can change mode, whatever. That's basically what a listen server is. There is a slight difference between the listen server and a dedicated server. You don't generally need to know them. The main thing is recently, if you wanted to see clip brushes when testing maps, you can only do that on the listen server. But for example, the dedicated server is sometimes just nicer to like have an actual console. I don't know, I find it easier. It's what I do. If you're coding for CS2KZ as well, sometimes it's nicer to have. So yeah, the way the dedicated server works is it runs, those two run in tandem. So you have the run insecure, which I'm gonna open now, which is your game. This just opens the game and with the -insecure launch option. Nothing special, you could do this normally through Steam, but this just makes it easier if you have other launch options. And then we're gonna do keep the game open. You always want to open it first, and then you run the server. So you run the run dedicated exe. You can see the windows, the console. It's gonna load up. But yeah, the way this works is instead of loading the plugin into your game, it only opens it on the server, and then it just has the game normally. And then you can connect to this dedicated server. And yeah, pretty simple stuff. Also, make sure you don't like select anything in the console, because that's gonna pause the server. Alright, so now there's two ways to open or to connect to your LAN server. Basically, the first one is you go through Steam, you go through View, Game Servers, you go to LAN, and then your server should be here, your dedicated server. Just click connect. This is kind of the slow way, but you know it works. And then the other way is if you do it through console, you can do just connect and then space and double colon. That should also work much faster. You only need to open your game, and yeah, as you can see, we have the plugin. Very easy stuff. You can change mode, and yeah, that's how to run all these things with a long-winded tutorial. But yeah, shout out.